when we talk about homeostasis. The main idea is that the body is always trying to keep things steady, no matter what is happening outside. And this steady state allows every organ and every cell to work without stress, because even small changes can disturb normal function if they are not controlled. And when we connect this with cell physiology, we understand that the same idea of balance also happens inside each cell. So the big picture of the body and the small world of the cell follow the same principle, even though they look completely different. Homeostasis basically means keeping the internal environment stable so the body can work smoothly. And this includes things like keeping the temperature in the safe range, making sure the water level is controlled, and keeping the concentration of ions like sodium and potassium at the right level. And the body does this all the time without you noticing, and you only feel it when something goes wrong, like when you get dehydrated or when your temperature goes up during a fever. And the important thing to remember is that homeostasis is always happening in the background and the body never stops working on it. The reason the body works so hard to stay stable is because every cell depends on a very narrow range of conditions, and if those conditions change too much, the cell cannot perform its job, and this can lead to problems in tissues and organs. And sometimes you can see this clearly when the body tries to recover from something simple, like not eating for many hours, because the body shifts its energy used to protect the brain and other important organs. And this shows how serious the body is about protecting its stable environment. To understand how the body keeps balance, it helps to picture a simple control system that works in three main steps. And the first step is the receptor that senses a change, then a control center that decides what to do, and finally an effector that carries out the action. And this pattern repeats everywhere in the body. For example, when your temperature rises, your skin receptors sense it, your brain acts as the control sensor, and the sweat glands act as effectors to cool you down. And once you understand this pattern, many processes become easier to understand because they follow the same logic. Most control systems work through something called negative feedback, which means that the body notices a change and acts in the opposite direction to bring things back to normal. And a simple example is blood sugar, where when it gets too high, the body releases insulin to lower it, and when it gets too low, the body releases glucagon to raise it. And this back and forth action keeps the level within a safe range. And you can think of negative feedback like a balancing act that keeps things from going too high or too low. Positive feedback works differently because instead of reversing a change, it increases it until something is completed. And even though it sounds risky, the body uses it for specific situations where a strong response is needed. And a clear example is childbirth, where contractions increase and become stronger to help deliver the baby. And they keep increasing until the process ends and the body shuts it off once the job is done. Because positive feedback is not meant to be used for everyday balance. Cell physiology focuses on how each cell maintains life. And even though cells are small, the amount of activity happening inside them is huge because they bring in nutrients, remove waste, create energy, and communicate with other cells all at the same time. And when you think about it, each cell is like a small living unit that needs to manage its own balance, just like the whole body does. And that is why understanding cell physiology helps you understand bigger systems later. The cell membranes controls what goes in and what comes out of the cell, and it acts like a gatekeeper that protects the inside of the cell while allowing the right things to pass through. And the membranes is made of a double layer of lipids with proteins embedded in it. And these proteins act like channels, pumps, and carriers, and they handle most of the movement of substances. And this control is important because even small changes in what enters the cell can affect how the cell behaves. There are different ways things move across the membranes, and some of them do not need energy, like simple diffusion or facilitated diffusion, while others need energy, like active transport, which pushes substances from low concentration to high concentration. And cells use active transport for ions like sodium and potassium to maintain electrical balance. And this balance is important for things like nerve signals and muscle movement. And when you understand this movement, it becomes easier to picture how cells keep themselves functional. Cells communicate by sending chemical signals to each other, and these signals can be hormones, neurotransmitters, or other small molecules that allow one cell to tell another cell what to do. And this communication is what allows tissues and organs to behave as a team because no cell works alone. And every action depends on messages being sent and received correctly. And when these messages are clear, the body works smoothly. But when the signals are weak or wrong, the body may struggle to maintain balance.